fight was getting mentioned and talked about and, signed, I just felt like he just did a lot of fake stuff and said a lot of stuff that, a person that you claim that you cool with, you would never say. So that was my big issue with him. I just know, character take you a long way.
With Floyd Mayweather's recent misbehaviors
And with Floyd Mayweather's recent controversial actions, Terence "Bud" Crawford has finally broken his silence and revealed what truly went wrong between him and the boxing legend. In a new interview, Crawford explained that the tension didn't just appear overnight, started building up shortly before his historic win against Canelo Alvarez. According to him, the behavior from Floyd was unusual and showed signs of jealousy long before the fight even happened.
Using what he got to shield. He got a lot of security guards around him, and he in the limelight and stuff like that. But in certain situations, he wouldn't be acting like that.
Do you like him as a fighter, though?
Yeah, he's a damn good fighter.
Yeah.
But like his core personality and his way.
Crawford explained that Floyd had always been the type to reach out before his big fights, offering encouragement and showing support. But this time, things were different. He didn't hear from Floyd at all, and instead, mutual friends began telling him that Mayweather wasn't in favor of the fight and didn't even want him to win. At first, Crawford brushed it off, focusing only on his preparation. But when he later saw Floyd's dismissive reactions in interviews about the fight, it became clear something was seriously wrong in their relationship.
Hey, Floyd, what do you think about the fight, Crawford Madrigal? You said it's going to be a good fight. You think the winner should get Canelo?
Sure. We're saying about them right now.
To make matters worse, Crawford revealed that it was Floyd who had secretly leaked news about his injuries during training camp. He said he found out later that Mayweather was the one spreading the story that he wasn't at 100%. Crawford admitted that he kept quiet about it before the fight, not wanting to give Canelo an advantage or provide excuses. Instead, he entered the ring carrying those whispers, fought through the doubts, still walked out as champion.
I had disliked a lot of things that he was saying, and how he was acting, being that, me, I'm a real individual. I just felt like, we was all cool at one point in time. And,
For he pointed out the irony in Floyd's actions. On one hand, Mayweather placed a bet in his favor, but on the other hand, he never reached out personally and instead fueled rumors about his physical condition. I wondered why he'd bet on me, but couldn't even check in with me, Crawford said. I don't understand where the jealousy is coming from. I've only ever been a fan of Floyd and a good friend to him. For Crawford, it was frustrating to see Mayweather suddenly calling him out for a fight, claiming he wanted to prove who the real GOAT is.
Elbows is hurting, my hands, my wrists, my neck, things like that. You gotta listen to your body and just say, all right, decompress. I'ma just chill out and let my body just do what it do.
I know you had a great camp, but brother, you finna be 38 soon, like in a day.
Crawford also admitted he wasn't at full strength going into the Canelo Alvarez fight. Still, despite not being 100%, he delivered one of the most iconic performances of his career. With the victory, he became the first male boxer in history to be undisputed across 3 weight divisions: 140, 147, and 154 pounds. And he did it by moving up to weight classes to face the reigning king at 168. Before the fight, Mayweather had helped spread rumors about a shoulder injury flaring up in camp, which Crawford finally addressed directly after the win.
If I take Floyd Mayweather in his absolute prime, and I take Manny Pacquiao in his absolute prime,
Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd still beats him.
Floyd beat everybody.
You don't believe there's a guy at 140, 147 in the history of boxing that could have beat Floyd in his prime?
It'd be tough. Floyd, man, that boy, man, that's the GOAT, man. That boy bad.
What makes it, because I told people this, I said, look at Floyd. I said, Floyd, it's not that he trains, it's his life. And from the very beginning, he said, I want to be the best.
When I fought Canelo, I was 36, and Canelo was 23, around the same age. Some of these guys won world titles and was undisputed champion. I think, the Tank age, the young little champions.
Mm-hmm.
Canelo was 23 with 43 fights. and 30 knockouts.
Where do I get a shoulder injury? I don't know. I think people come up with their own antics. Terence Crawford got a shoulder injury. Terence Crawford out of shape. Terence Crawford slow. They coming up with all kinds of stuff, Crawford said. Looking back, Crawford was unlikely to admit that he was suffering from something that would have boosted Canelo's camp.
There's rumors that you've got a shoulder injury. Do you have a shoulder injury or is that just rubbish?
Where I got a shoulder, I don't know. I think people coming up with their own, antics. Terence Crawford got a shoulder injury. Terence Crawford out of shape. Terence Crawford slow. Terence Crawford. Yeah, they coming up with all.
That my shoulder was giving me problems, Crawford said sarcastically. Recalling how the rumors had taken on a life of their own. Apparently, it had been flaring up for weeks and being monitored closely. But where do I get a shoulder injury from? People just make things up. One day I'm injured, the next day I'm slow, the next day I'm out of shape. They just talk. Crawford made it clear that, true or not, he would never have admitted weakness before the fight, because it only would have boosted Canelo's confidence.
Couple days, right? How was that last camp you just had?
It was great.
I know it was great. Well, did you feel different at 37?
A little bit, yeah.
You had no bumps and bruises?
Man, we always got bumps and bruises.
I'm saying bumps and bruises at 37.
Man, I had bumps and bruises at 27. You know what I mean?
Looking back, Crawford admitted that even if he was carrying pain, he was never going to let that define him. Instead, he went out and delivered a masterclass. He neutralized Canelo's body attack, controlled the pace, and consistently outlanded him. Whether injured or not, he proved his greatness by overcoming every possible disadvantage jumping weight classes, dealing with pressure, and silencing critics who doubted he could hang with the Mexican superstar.
Are you feeling a difference in power now you've moved up and you're at your natural weight?
Of course. Power is definitely going to come with it, so that's not any worries that I ever had to have.
Terence, what excites you the most about this challenge on Saturday night?
Shutting everybody up.
And what does this feel like to you, Terence? We normally don't come in an arena and see you booed the way that you were today. How excited are you to shut everybody up?
Hey, man, it happened.
The revelation about Crawford's less-than-perfect condition only makes his win more impressive. Jumping to divisions alone was a monumental challenge. Adding the possibility of a shoulder injury meant he was risking everything in a fight where the odds were stacked against him. Shoulder problems don't just affect punching power. They also weaken endurance and make it harder to maintain a solid defensive guard. For Crawford to perform as flawlessly as he did shows the mental toughness that separates him from most fighters in history.
If you can, compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence Bud Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
And ironically, the story doesn't end with Crawford. After the fight, news broke that Canelo himself had been dealing with his own injury. Reports confirmed that he too was not at 100% heading into the bout, and that he would be undergoing surgery afterward. The revelation fueled a heated debate. Did injuries decide the fight, or did Crawford simply prove he was better regardless of the circumstances? For many fans, the answer was clear: Crawford outclassed Canelo, even if both men weren't fully healthy.
How did that feel to hear that from someone like him?
I just was like, well, it's his personal opinion. He was in the ring with both of us. So a lot of people, they can say what they want, but he's actually been in the ring with both of us. One where he felt like he was at the best.
According to reports, Canelo Alvarez will undergo elbow surgery that could sideline him for 5 to 6 months. The recovery will delay his schedule under the lucrative Riyadh season contract, where he still has at least 2 major fights remaining. This isn't the first time injuries have slowed him down either. After his trilogy with Gennady Golovkin, Canelo had risked surgery before returning to the ring. His latest setback now adds another difficult chapter to his legendary career.
When you look at these fights, especially coming up, you gotta be realistic. You gotta, say, all right, how big is this dude really is? Because David Benavidez, he can fight his ass off, But me personally, I believe in
Crawford against Mayweather, right? How do you think a fight between both of them turn out?
If Mayweather gets hit with Crawford like I hit him and rocked, it might not end well for Mayweather. They might be over it. But Mayweather could outbox Crawford, I think, because Crawford has the mindset that I'm trying to knock you out. And Mayweather knows how to play to that I'm trying to knock you out type of thing. Because he's used to people coming at him, trying to hit him hard all the time.
The big question now is how Canelo will return after the operation. Some believe he should take a
run for Canelo. The defeat to Crawford will go down as one of the most painful moments of his career, not just because of the loss, but because of what was at stake. It came at a stage where every fight mattered, where his legacy and reputation were on the line. Meanwhile, Crawford's victory has elevated him to new heights, silencing doubters and rewriting history by becoming a three-weight undisputed champion. But behind the celebrations lies the drama with Mayweather, a man Crawford once admired, now seems to be standing in his shadow and throwing stones instead of support.
When I looked at it, he came out in the southpaw stance and he took Canelo's jab away from him. As you know, if you take a fighter's jab away from them, then it's hard for them to really land. You force them to use one shot, and he forced them to use his backhand, his rear hand. Crawford was ready for the loop in the right hands. Crawford